Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, and shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today? Sorry, I just went because I dropped my controller. Yeah, how's it going? It's almost July, art fight's almost started. Did I finish a thumbnail art? No. So it's probably going to be finished after August, which is insane. How long did it take me last year to finish a thumbnail art? I would say like I'm super procrastinating at this point. It's like because I'm still not nearly as far through it as I'd like. Hold on, let me think. It would be time lapse. I think I must have finished it just before. It's July 6th. So I probably finished it. I finished it just before art fight. I think it's unrealistic for me to finish it before this art fight, mainly because I played a lot of Peak. I'm going to be on a summer evening on the weekends, but hey ho. Hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 6:13 PM on Monday, June 30th, 2025. That's not to my friend's fault. It's to my fault. So I guess we'll just wait till like halfway through the year, and then we'll just have the thumbnail art for half a year or something. I don't know. It really is. You know, I'm almost a little bit embarrassed about it. Well, I guess a little bit. You know, a bit of shame. Shame, not because I feel like shame like is a very strong word. When it's like when I say that, I'm like, oh, it's absolutely like guilt. It hangs above my head or anything. It's not like with Sword of Damocles or anything like that. It's more just like you know, like a bit of embarrassment, like a sort of when someone goes like, oh, you haven't like done this thing, it would take you like whatever amount, why haven't you done this yet? You know, it's sort of thing where it's like, yeah, you're right, I probably should have, but that's good, you know. Shame. I'm not saying I shouldn't feel shame. That emotion, as in general, sort of gives way to, I think, an awareness of duty in a sense, right? Obviously, I think that's a bit grandiose for this situation. This situation is basically rather inconsequential, mind you, but it is like a bit of a shame, isn't it? I don't know. It might be possible I can finish it during art fight, to be honest, but we'll have to see. I think I could maybe find a balance. I have found previously that art fight, like last year, really spurned on like me drawing. So then I actually did more drawings than I think I did in art fight last year. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. I'm absolutely boiling right now in a bit of sheet. I would say we have D&D later today, after like a week break. Yeah, I don't really know what I said right because I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do. It's a point where now they've basically got most of the answers, not for the overarching campaign, but they've got basically all the characters have most of the answers for what's going on with their own personal plots in this campaign, that is. There is, if anything, I think the one who's had the least explained is perhaps my own DMPC, which is not that big a deal, to be honest. But like I'm trying to think, like the Warlock player has basically got most of the answers and probably will get most of the answers in this session because they're kind of like in the middle of the interrogation, which is kind of weird to think about. It's going to be a very strange pace to pick up from, but the undead player has, or character I should say, not player, has gotten, like, technically nothing's been confirmed, but I think they've all basically kind of had like a strong idea of what's kind of happened, but just more like some things are left a bit unexplained, and the true nature of things is a bit unexplained, but there's still some mysteries there. And then the other player, the bard, she has most of, I think, this act's story worked out. This is as a collective group, by the way, not individuals. There is more that could happen, but that, like, in my planning stages, I'm like, this could be like a Act 3, Act 4 sort of character point, and if it doesn't even get resolved, then so be it. That's not the most important thing in the world. You might have been like, did you spend all that time off D&D to properly like plan and stuff? And the answer is no. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I didn't spend like the entire week planning like intricate dungeons or stuff like that, mainly because I'm like, I'm not sure if I need them. Yeah, like it's very hard to plan more than a couple of sessions ahead at a time. It's easy to plan, like, it's easy to give structure, but it's not easy to plan the minutiae of things. And both sessions have ended in a place where it's like, oh, you know, there's not too much which needs to happen in the next session. Like, this session is probably like, the first half is going to be very written out. It's going to be this interrogation, the continued interrogation is going to end, and then there's probably going to be a lot of discussion as a team about what they want to do. And then I have an idea of what I think we're going to do, which will probably happen. And there's something which is much further down the line, which requires a lot more planning, but I don't know what's in that content, because I don't know when they'll exactly get to it. That will probably be either... I think that thing I have planned is probably going to be the sort of bridging point from Act 2 to Act 3, as this plot point has continued into Act 3. Because it's going to be a real sort of change of pace, like a change of like atmosphere, because everything has been so sort of dark, heavy and brooding, I think, so far. This, I was like, we need to give like a bit of levity, give my players just like a chance to basically go completely wild, almost consequence free is kind of the idea. Because they've not really had like a true moment of respite for a while. Like, I mean, the tournament was meant to be that. I don't think any other players really found it that in the end, so that was a failure on that behalf. So I'm taking this campaign as that. The other campaign to be that had a festival, which I think was a nice sort of reprieve. And yeah, that's what's going on. I'm just like, I'm shut for time. The heat makes me feel a lot more lethargic. I will say after this, I will probably, after D&D, I will probably be doing more drawings. Maybe. I need to finish off my art, like sort of like announcement style drawing, which is basically mostly finished. It's got the first layer of shading done. And then whatever time I have left will be like, oh, Animal Crossing thumbnail art. So let me see it. There we go. I haven't seen it since like last night. Also, I looked at it and I was like, I think the proportion's a bit off on this drawing. Like, I think our eyes are way too big, so maybe I'll make them smaller, but we'll see. I'll just say that's a stylistic choice. But what are we going to talk about? I don't know. I still kind of want to talk about Squid Game, but I'm not going to. It's still fresh on people's mind. I saw Toby Fox's like Deltarune concepts being released. I've still held out on playing Deltarune. I played the first chapter, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to wait for all of it to be released before I actually play it, so I can do it in one fell swoop. Which I'm not sure if that's the intended way to play it, because I think it's like 7 chapters, and it's been like, how long? 10 years? I feel like I remember discussing about it with a friend in sixth form. I don't know. It's a long time to wait though. And I think it'll be worth it, because I mean, Undertale, I said it once and said it again, like Undertale is literally my favourite game of all time, so expectations are high, and you know, the fandom is still alive and buzzing around it, so I must imagine Deltarune is pretty good. What chapter are we on? Okay, initially released 2018, so 7 years ago. When were the other chapters run out? Because I thought we have chapter 4 has been released. 3rd, 4th and 5th have no details of 6 and 7. Eternal deadline for 3rd and 4th been met. Bug fixing announced on the same day. April 2nd on the same day. What is the release date for chapter 3 and 4? Is it already done? Deltarune chapters 1 to 4 release date. You know, to buy the game once, upcoming chapters will be added as free updates. When do you actually buy it? Wishlist on Steam? I don't know. I guess you are meant to play it through chapters. Chapter 1 and 2 are free. Chapter 3 and 4 you must buy. Chapter 4 is... When's chapter 5? 2026 release? Is there a chapter 6 and 7? I don't know. Wait, chapter 4 has been released. What? Deltarune chapter 6? Is this a thing? Confirmed. For the chapter selection screen. chapter 7, chapter 6. So chapter 5 is 2026, chapter 6 and 7. So maybe in a couple years' time, I'll be able to actually play the entire game in its entirety. We'll see if that channel's still going at this point, or if that's just something I play by myself. But yeah, what else to say about it? It's kind of interesting having these sort of episodic chapter style releases for a game, you know? It kind of reminds me of like Life is Strange, right, when we have the chapters every few months or so. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I almost feel like, So I'm just like, is it the presentation of a game which makes it, the chapters feel so tedious? But I'm like, you can't just pretend that it's a whole new game each time. You know, imagine if they were like, this is Life is Strange 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the first 5 chapters. They've been pretty crazy. But that sort of episodic thing, I don't know, I feel like it's been a while since people have really done it. To even much success, mind you. Life is Strange, obviously, but then Life is Strange got rid of the chapter. Or the staggered release of the chapters with Life is Strange 3, right? Maybe they got rid of it with Life is Strange 2, I don't remember. But then did they bring it back with Life is Strange 4? I don't know. But then there was that Lost Records game, which is made by some of the same people from Life is Strange. Originals team. Which is also interesting in its own right, because that only had 2 chapters, right? I don't know. I wonder how easy it is to get people to buy into sort of like episodic chapter release. Maybe it's ironic I talk about Squid Game, seeing as that was basically a season 2 cut into two halves, right? I don't know whether that's the right option or not, to be honest. I think the thing which I find most interesting about it is, what is the right sort of level of breakdown for these things, you know? Because presumably you do it so you can release like part of a game, and then you get enough funding to continue the development, get enough interest into the rest of it. But I'm trying to think, like, what other medium does this as well? I mean, I assume, you know, when chapter 1 is released, it's not like we're not developing chapters 2 and 3, we're going under the assumption that they will have a funding for it. Or perhaps the funding's already secured, they just didn't have a timeline for it or something, I don't know. But imagine like a TV series which was like, they developed it as they went or something. Feels bizarre, doesn't it? Maybe that's just me. Like, imagine they had like Andor or something, they just like released the first episode or something, and they were like, alright, while that's going on, we're releasing the second one, but like 3 months later. I mean, there probably are shows which have done that, to be honest, but there's probably a lot more economical just to develop the entire season at once. I guess that's kind of what we do with seasons, right? I don't know. Seasons are also getting a lot shorter, you notice that? When it comes to releases. I feel like it used to be so typical to have like a 26 episode season or something. I mean, that's still probably the case for like TV channel releases and things, but on things like Netflix and streaming services, I feel like most of the seasons are like 7 episodes long or something, 6 episodes. I'm not saying it's a bad thing necessarily, doing a sort of like slow chapter release. I think that just sort of is what it is. But it's interesting that sort of emerged as a way to do it. Withhold the stuff you have. You know what? Manga really does that a lot, doesn't it? Like weekly updates or something. That's probably an even better example. But I mean, that serialized format I think is mainly part because of how a lot of them end up getting released, right? Is in like these weekly magazines. So that's kind of like what they're encouraged to do in a way. Webcomics, I guess, as well. fitting because everything is fine. Season 4 has just started. How is it so far? I mean, it's basically the setup period still. So, who knows? But it did give it interesting sort of lore into what's going on. I'm very hotly anticipating it. It's going to be agonizing because previous seasons, it's a series which is loves for sort of like tension and sort of like find out next time sort of things. Cliffhangers, that's the way to put it. But all the previous, you know, episodes, I suppose, I've been able to just immediately carry on because I didn't read them as they came out. But now I'm actually caught up with something and reading it as it comes out. The tension's gonna absolutely get to me. What's gonna happen? I don't know. It's like a dun dun dun. It's like a soap opera. That's how I get you. The stingers at the end. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. On that note, I'm going to round this episode up here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Social Discord down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's our farewells. Until next time. Bye-bye for now.